evening. This is Interviews and Conversations, our podcast with myself, Nanette Buchanan, and my co-host, Felice Reeves. And what we're doing is episode 3 with Bernadette Evans from Bernadette Evans Ministry. She's the founder and CEO of this fantastic, I don't even know if we want to call it in need. This is something that we've needed for years. And I'm quite sure that there are other organizations and other groups that touch the surface, but she has literally put the cover over the top of it. Look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about abstinence, and we're going to talk about young ladies. We're going to talk about molestation. We're going to talk about disease. We're going to talk about everything that goes with it. And you need to learn it. And I think that that's the mission statement, not putting it fluently as society would have it, or as we would have to put it in a business plan. We wouldn't be able to say it that way. But breaking it down to the youth, that's what we're telling them. You have sex, you're going to have problems. You have sex and you don't understand who you are. You're going to get caught up in something that's a little older than you. Because this goes back to the beginning of time. When we talk about sex and we talk about women having to be the blunt of some of the sexual perversions that happen. So Bernadette, I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'm quite sure Felice has a couple of questions to ask you in this particular episode. And for the audience, if you have not seen episode 1 and 2, you're getting ready to get into the heat of things. You might want to go warm up first and episode 1 and 2, because now we're in the thick of things. So my question, Bernadette, and then I'm going to turn it over to Felice. My question is, in doing this, have you gotten much rebuttal from the parents, from the participants? Because you did say that there are some older participants other than just your girls. There are some that are. Well, have you had rebuttal from some of the people that looked at you and said, no, you're not going to come here and talk about that?
You know what? Honestly, I'm going to say this. The pushback that I've gotten really hasn't been from the people that want to hear. One thing I've learned is that your niche is your niche.
Yes.
And people are assigned to my voice. And the people that are assigned to my voice want to hear what I have to say.
Right.
But then there are those, the naysayers, who say, good luck with that.
Right.
Good luck with that. You talking about abstinence, good luck with that. I don't know about that abstinence and dating and not being abstinence. Well, you know what? You don't have to know about it. I know about it because I've done it. Right. And I've done it successfully. I believe the thing about dating and being abstinent as an adult is this. It's about being transparent.
Yes.
It's about being open, and it's about being honest. I am a 63-year-old woman. I will be 64 in July. At 63 years old, it is what it is. If when I come out of the gate, I'm going to tell you where I am, what I'm about. And so you have the opportunity to either date me or not.
Very good.
And that's a good point. That's a good point. And I think that's where we left off the last time when we were talking about value. And I believe, Felice, your questions had to do with knowing your value.
Yeah. And that's a big thing. So that's my burning question of anything is, if you can walk us through your program, whether it be for the youth or for your for-profit for adults, maybe just kind of outline what the program is about. Because I suspect education is a big proponent of it, but please tell me.
Absolutely. So my program is about in building women in their area of self-esteem and self-worth, meaning that when I do an intake, I have to find out where you are, because people come into the program at all different levels. So we have this orientation that we go through. We find out where you are and what are your goals, because I'm a mentor and I'm a coach. So I want to find out, what are your goals? When you come to me, what is it that you want me to hold you accountable for?
Right. Now, then let me ask this question, because that's pretty, provocative there. But so do most people come in for the purpose of how to live an abstinent life, or how to live a better life for themselves? Because I would think abstinence should be a byproduct as opposed to your main focus. Am I wrong, or?
Well, yeah, abstinence is a byproduct of the main focus, because the main focus is bringing you from where you are, of not seeing the value of who you are,
Sure.
not understanding your worth and your self-esteem. And in the process of you growing and learning who you are, what your purpose is, the value that you have, that you bring to the table, abstinence is a byproduct of that.
Sure.
Because you learn, you know what? I value who I am. I value who I'm becoming. And I'm not just going to turn that over to anyone just because he says he likes me.
Yeah.
Or he loves me. I've learned to value myself.
Right. And perhaps fill in valuing that, you know how to fill your own cup, per se, instead
That's
of
right.
looking externally for that filling the void. You become empowered to do your own filling.
Well, one of the symptoms of low self-esteem and low self-worth that I've seen in women, and in particularly myself, is that we look for someone to validate us.
Sure.
We're looking for a man to validate us. We're looking for that relationship to validate us, to tell us that we're beautiful, or we're special, or we're loved. And the word of God says that we should love our neighbors as we love ourselves.
Yeah. Yes. And I think I might be wrong, but are we to love ourselves first?
Right.
Well, first God, then ourselves, then.
That's right. First God, then ourselves. But if I don't know how to love myself, how can I really love you?
Right. Yeah.
And self-love shows up in the way you handle your finances. Self-love shows up in the way you handle your relationships. Wow. Self-love shows up in the way you handle everything about you. Wow. I love myself. So now coming from low self-esteem and low self-worth, I stopped spending money on clothes to make myself feel good.
Oh, there's a bug flying around here.
You know what I'm saying? I stopped spending money on clothes trying to mask the feeling of not being adequate.
Or I stopped trying to duplicate what others are doing.
Right.
My peers, that peer pressure.
Yeah.
And trying to be what they want me to be.
Yeah.
Or fitting into the group. I have to, we all have to wear the same styles. We all have to look the same. And all of that peer pressure comes during the puberty stage, when our emotions are haywire anyway. We're trying to understand everything that's going on, be it male or female. We don't know what's going on in our body.
Right.
The body is changing, and we don't understand the change, but we also don't understand the change of how we're maturing. And we're maturing on a level of dating. We're maturing on a level of, I didn't like her last year, but I like her this year. That type of thing. We go through those things as we mature. My question becomes, how does your program take in the person such as yourself, the person who has been through the molestation, the incest, the problem with trust? Now you no longer have the trust factor of those that you are looking to love. I no longer trust men. I no longer trust the family members to even introduce me to someone, because I can't trust their choices, because their choices have gotten me caught up in some situations that I haven't been done. When you're confronted with those type people who you have to crack that shell gently so that you don't break the egg, how do you handle them?
Well, Lynette, you pretty much described the way I do that. It's really about being gracious.
Yeah.
Bernadette Evans Ministries is not about forcing you into to fit into a mold, or forcing you to process your feelings. It's about being gracious to you. Bernadette Evans Ministry is about being kind. It's about being loving. It's about nurturing you, bringing you to a place where you can feel safe. Because that's when anyone begins to let their guards down, male or female, teenage or not. People begin to let you in when they feel that they can trust you.
Yeah.
And so if there's anything I want people to know about Bernadette Evans Ministries, is that Bernadette Evans Ministries is a safe place. And creating that type of community is so important to me, because I did not have a safe place.
Yes.
And that support is so important, because regardless to what goes on, even if they stray and they try and they don't try, knowing that they can come back, and knowing that they have a supportive person or supportive people that they can communicate with and be a part of, adds to the fact of them understanding there's a better you on the other side of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, I model my ministry and my life after Jesus. Jesus was the best. He was the best teacher, speaker, mentor, pastor. When you read through the Gospels and you see how he handled people, Jesus was so far from religion.
Yes.
There was nothing religious about him. He was hyper spiritual.
Yes.
But there was nothing religious about him. When you read through the gospel, it was always the religious people that you found him confronting about religion.
Yeah.
His walk was about compassion. His walk was about kindness. His walk was about loving people. Even his inner circle, the 12 apostles or the 12 disciples, you see him sit them down after they went out and they ministered. He brought them in and they would ask him questions. Well, what did that mean, Master? What did that mean?
Yeah.
And he would say, okay, let me, or come here, let me break this down to you. I said this because this is what this meant. This is what this parable meant. This is what that meant. He was the greatest people builder in the world.
Yeah. And he met people where they were.
And he met people where they are. Who am I? Who am I not to meet people where they are? Everyone has a past. Everyone has gone through something. Everyone has been through something. We live in a time and in a society where people need to know that they have some place safe to go.
Yes.
Can
absolutely.
I trust you with me? Can I trust what I share with you? Can I trust you?
Yeah.
And so I want the audience that's listening and the women that I come in contact with to know that Bernadette Evans Ministries is a place where you are safe.
Well, go ahead.
And with understanding that, we're going to go into closing episode 3. I told you that it was high, but we've got one more episode to go. So if you've seen episode 1 and 2 and you joined us for episode 3, we know you're going to tune in for episode 4. But we want to thank our audience and Bernadette Evans for being with us with Bernadette Evans Ministry. We'll see you next week.